Recording. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Average Day Podcast. Hi, Mom. How are you?
I'm good, honey. How are you?
Good. It's good to finally have you here in front of the camera with me.
It's a privilege to be here.
Well, thank you for coming. So we did write down some topics of conversation just because, this is going to be the first official episode. We really wanted to talk about dreams.
Yeah.
So what made you want to talk about dreams, and what dream specifically came to mind when you thought about this topic?
There's been a lot of reoccurring dreams during a particular sleep time that have really caught my interest. Not only most recently, but in the past, that have really intrigued my mind as to why do we have these kind of dreams? Where do they come from? What are they made of? And why do they happen? And how are they created when a lot of them make no sense?
Myself, I've never really had a specific reoccurring dream, but I've been in places before, almost like a dreaming deja vu.
Mm-hmm.
So I've caught myself knowing that I've been in a specific place before, but I've never had an exact repeating dream before. So that kind of fascinates me, that people have a constant, like, event for event reoccurring dream. And, that sparks a lot of my interest as well. And for everybody out there watching, we do have a laptop here with Google. It is set to look up dream definitions and reasons behind certain dreams. So bear with us if you see us digging around on the table here. It's just because we're checking out Google and looking up some reference material. What is exactly the reoccurring dream that you've been having?
There's numerous ones. There's ones I've had as a kid. There's ones I've had most recently, I'd say in the last 6 months to a year. They all have the same roundabout base to them, but they never have a finalizing occurrence until I wake up. And it is there, and it's very conscious on my mind right after I wake up. Then within an hour, gone. I'm thinking, what the heck? What happened? Where did this come from? Why am I dreaming this? And I just really don't understand. And then there's other dreams where they are so realistic that I have literally pinched myself in my sleep.
I've done that a few times too.
And because they were so realistic that when I woke up, I looked at my arm to see if I actually had pinched myself. And I knew in my dream that it wasn't real because it was numb.
Yeah, you can't feel it in your dream.
Exactly.
For some reason, you can't feel it. And it's weird how in some dreams you can feel certain sensations, like the sensation of falling.
Yes.
Or, especially wind falling, sometimes you can feel the wind on your face.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can feel a certain pressure. But I have specifically looked down and pinched myself before and gone, oh, yeah, I can't feel it. I must be dreaming.
I must be dreaming.
Or the weird dreams where you almost pee the bed and you're like, oh, and then you wake up and you really have to go.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird how your brain works that way. And I've also been fascinated by the fact that we can dream, and sometimes, there's a few dreams that I remember from childhood, and even up until recently, and how they stick with you and how you can recall vivid events in that dream. But at the same time, the next day you can dream and you wake up, and as soon as you wake up, you don't remember anything.
You don't remember anything.
So it's actually, I wonder if we'll ever have an answer as to why certain dreams really stick with us in our waking consciousness.
Right. And where do they come from? Where do they come from? How can something so bizarre as riding rollerblades down the airport ramp, and you have to get to work, but you can't find your way home because there's too big of a mess and you have to clean it up before you get home and go to work, It's just the weirdest things happen in dreams. And my biggest curiosity is, where do they come from? Where do they come from? How are they created? What's in our subconscious? How do you investigate these kind of things? And what's really going on in the backside of your mind when you don't really understand what happened in the first place?
And have you ever heard of DMT? It's ditryptylmethylene. Oh shit! I should go to Google. Ditryptylmethylene tetrahydride. Hold on. Excuse me, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm sure there's some of you out there screaming, "This is what DMT is," but give me a minute. Okay, so DMT is ditryptylamine, whatever.
One of those really big words.
And one of the really big words. So, have you ever heard of DMT before?
I have not.
Okay, so DMT is known as the spirit molecule, and it is what's flooded into your brain when you die, and it's also what scientists believe is released in your brain in very small quantities when you enter REM sleep, because you only dream in REM sleep. And crazy enough, I'm sure that we've had a couple of conversations about this before, but when a person smokes weed, THC actually inhibits your brain from dreaming. You can actually suppress your dreams by smoking weed, and when you quit smoking weed, it rages back with a vengeance. I've experienced this personally, at least until the last year, and I would say even within the last year, my dreams have never really settled back down. I've gone from not really dreaming at all for a few years, maybe a couple of memorable ones here and there, but as soon as I quit, and even just that first 24 hours of not smoking anymore, your dreams come back with a vengeance. And I believe that your brain seeps a little bit more of that DMT into your glands, into your neurons, because it's been held back for so long. Now, it says DMT here is a chemical substance that occurs in many plants and animals, in which is both a derivative and a structural analog of tryptamine. It can also be consumed as a psychedelic drug and has historically been prepared by various cultures for ritual purposes and as an entheogen. Let this load up a little bit. DMT has a rapid onset, intense effects, and relatively short duration of action. So, I've never done this myself, but I have known a few people, and in fact, one of my good heroes, Joe Rogan, who has really inspired me to do these podcasts in the first place, has documented his DMT trips. And one thing that everybody has in common is this world in which you visit, and it is a dream world, and they literally describe it as breaking through a ceiling. And now I've been told that usually DMT of this type is smoked, and when you smoke it, it happens relatively fast, and you instantaneously enter the dream world, and you do break through what they describe as a ceiling of color, and you float out of your body and literally into the dream world or another dimension.
That has so completely, totally happened to me. And now that you mentioned it, I'm recalling a dream that I had that I will never forget. Was so real. It was one of those that you could pinch yourself and you can't feel it, but you can feel everything that's going on around you, and you know the people that are there, you know the people that you're coming to, or you're looking for, or what you're looking for, and you familiarly have been there before, but you've never seen this place in your life. It's mind-blowing. It really is.
What do you think it is? Do you think it's another branch of subconsciousness? Do you think it's a place that our spirit has been to before?
That's the part that I'm leaning towards because of the certain dreams that I've had and where they've been and the people that have been there that I haven't been close to in my life. However, there were very key components, very specific components that I visited and I was there. I could feel the environment. I could see the journey. I knew what I was looking for. And the journey of getting there was cut short because I was awakened by either the alarm clock or something woke me up. And those are things I'll never forget.
Did you seriously just turn off?
That's hungry.
Well, it's a good thing we have a backup. Hold on, everybody. I think my one and only camera just tried to shut off on me.
But on that same note, when you experience something like that and you can remember it from 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago,
It died. We'll have to use this one.
It's still stuck in your memory banks, yet there's vivid memories that you have of dreams that you wake up and all of a sudden they're there, and then by the time you walk down the hall to the kitchen to pour your coffee, you can't remember what the heck happened. And it's just really intriguing because most of the time when these dreams occur, I've woken up, I've walked down the hallway, gone outside for a moment, come back in the house, lay down to go back to sleep, and then all of a sudden I'm in this weird dream mode, and the oddest of things happen.
Have you ever been able to fall back asleep into the same dream?
Yes, I have.
I wonder, I've done that before too.
Not many times, but it has happened before. It depends on the duration of time that I'm awake.
Yeah, same here. Especially, there's been a few times, and I can say honestly within the last year, there's probably been a handful of times where I've started to really wake up, and I felt myself wake up, but I didn't want to leave the place I was at. I wanted to continue my adventure. And so I've kind of forced myself back asleep. And there has been, I'd say half the time that I force myself back asleep, things go relatively well, and then the other half of the time, they go completely off the rails.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have a good dream anymore. And
Right.
it unfolds into something completely unexpected and goes into a whole different nightmare realm.
Yeah, it does.
Do you think that it'll ever be possible to record a dream and broadcast it, kind of like a movie? Do you think we'll ever be able to save a dream like a file?
With the way things that technology works and how they can tamper into the human mind and everything else in any way, shape, or form, I believe anything is possible. But I believe really deep down that the only one that knows and can explain what's going on in our dreams is somewhere up here. And where does it come from? Why is this happening? Where is it going? And where did it come from? And those are the questions that we have no answers to. It depends on how far we look into it, but I still have no answers to the questions that I have.
Yeah, there's some. I've looked up some meanings of dreams on the internet, and some people do believe that they know the answers, and that the answers have been passed down to them through whether it be a shaman or some sort of spiritual remedy doctor,
Or a medium.
yeah, or a medium, or some psychic who has had experience. Just kind of dwelling in sleep, and the knowledge has been passed down. And not to say that it makes them, a professional on the matter or an expert, but a lot of people have been handed down these answers through generation to generation. And it kind of makes you wonder, which things have been altered through time, and which things have really stuck true. One of the things that has really stuck with me is there was a time when I went to California, and when I went there with my daughter's mom, and we went there to go. Basically, her great grandma was in hospice, and she was dying, and we stayed with her family. And within the first couple nights that I was there, shush. Within the first couple nights that I was there, I had this dream that all my molars fell out, and that I was looking at them in my hand, and I couldn't explain what was going on, and it was very startling. And when I woke up, and I very vividly still remember this dream, and I looked up what it meant, and at the time I found an answer that was, when you have dreams of your teeth falling out, that it means somebody that you know, or somebody that you're close to, or somebody around you is getting ready to pass. And that the further back the teeth that fall out are, the less you know the person. And the closer to the front that they become, the closer you are to that person. And I thought it very strange that it happened to be just my back molars, perhaps my wisdom teeth in a dream, that fell out, because I had never met this person before visiting California. And it was 3 days after this dream that she did pass. We went there to say goodbye while she was at home in hospice, and somehow I subconsciously connected to this passing. I still can't explain how it worked, but it startles me nowadays when I have additional dreams of my teeth falling out, and there's other ones that are already growing and completely crooked to replace them, and I can't find the answers as to what. Or I have a dream that I had a dream maybe 3 weeks ago, or the very beginning of October, and I remember it vividly that I wasn't pulling a single hair out of my mouth, but it was that my mouth actually started to grow hair, and it startled me, and all I could do was scrape it off my tongue like my tongue was a fuzzball. And it kept going, and it kept going, and it freaked me out, and I kept scraping it, and I would go like that with my teeth, and then it would start growing in my teeth. And I remember looking down and seeing just a pile of what, like, it looked like somebody who was short hair had shaved their head in front of me. And it kept going and kept going, and it startled me so much that it woke me up out of my dream, and I immediately jumped to the dream dictionary, and I couldn't find a specific answer for what I was looking for, and the closest I could find was that it means that change is happening in your life, and that no matter what, in the end, everything will be okay. But you're preparing, and you're ready for a major change in your life, and this is the signal that it's going to happen. This is the turning point. This is the point of no return. And it was kind of a crazy, I got half of an answer, because it was when I was really dead set on starting these podcasts and getting ready to record things, and I was dead set on coming back here to visit. And it was really when I started my journey into learning what the hell was going on in our country. And all of this kind of compressed down into one, and I do believe I got half of an answer, but the answer that I got didn't explain why there was such a multitude. Every answer that I could find was, oh, you pulled a single hair out of your mouth and you were aware of it. This was totally different. I shaved a bear out of my mouth, and I couldn't figure out why.
Right.
And it is one of those dreams that has very vividly stuck with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I have started to kind of see part of those answers coming true. I believe this episode is one of those answers. But I think that dream was just the start of a very long journey. And that's why there was such a multitude of my whole mouth being fuzzballed. Um, but it was scary in a not necessarily a terrifying nightmare way, but a very anxious way. And so I wonder if that, really just ties back to real waking everyday life.
That very well could be. That's a good perspective of it.
Have you ever had Inception? Do you know what Inception is? Okay, so Inception is a dream within a dream.
Oh.
Do you ever recall a dream within a dream?
I don't recall or believe so, no.
Now, do you dream in color?
Yes.
I also dream in very vivid color, and I have had a couple of instances of Inception, and one that I can remember very vividly. We'll get to that later on down the road. But I read multiple times in dream studies that the majority of people dream in black and white. And everybody that I've asked or talked to, they say that they dream in color.
Mm-hmm.
And I have actually never met somebody who has openly admitted to dreaming in black and white. That would be very odd to me.
It would be odd to me too, because even after our discussions in the last few days, after I fell asleep and woke up, fell back asleep and woke up again, there was this dream frame, and it's very vivid, and two others that are reoccurring dreams that I've had the identical dream in different times and points in my life. They are absolutely identical, and they are in color. I can tell you what kind of rollerblades I was wearing. I can tell you what color the interior of the house was that I was trying to fix. I've never had a black and white dream, not ever, not that I know of.
Walk me through, if you feel comfortable enough, walk me through the details of these dreams. Start at the beginning and go until the point that you wake up. What are the events? What happens to you in these reoccurring dreams that are so specific?
I think the one I remember most, because I've had it so many times at random times in my life, and I can still see it as if it was right there. I'm trying to get to work, and for some reason I end up on a pair of, like I mentioned, rollerblades. Not good for me. And I end up skating through this airport terminal, trying to get towards this point of a house. And my urgency still is I have to get to work. So I'm rollerblading through all this, and I get to this point in this area that now becomes a house that's far away from my home that I'm trying to fix. And I'm okay with fixing it. I'm by myself, and I'm trying to fix this place to make it hospitable, and I still am looking. I have to get out and find a job. I have to find a way to get there. I have to find a way to get to my new job or my new work. And then I get busy in the house, and I get to the house, and I have unexpected company. And my unexpected company is making a mess out of everything that I'm trying to do. So
who is your unexpected company? Is it somebody specific every time? Is it a shapeless figure? Is it just in the back of your mind you know that there's somebody in the house?
There's unnamed faces, and then there's general family. And people I don't see very often. But they're there, and my sense of urgency is causing so much anxiety because I have to get to work. I have to get to work, find a job, get the house clean, get this done, get this fixed. And then it breaks down and breaks down. There's more messes to clean up. And then here comes the spiders and the shafts that you have to go down to. and all of a sudden I'm on this train that has to go somewhere, and I'm going to miss the train. But I have to get up to where I was going because I have to get to work. I mean, it just doesn't make sense whatsoever. But I've had this same dream at least 4 times, and it is absolutely identical. I know what I'm wearing, I know what I feel, I can feel the air on my face. It's just very bizarre, and that's why I ask myself, where does this come from?
Well, how does it make you feel when, how does it impact the next day when you wake up and you are getting ready to go to work and you're at work? You know, what are the lasting effects from this dream? What does it make you feel throughout the day? Does it affect your daily mood? Does it affect what you think about during the day? Does it stick with you to the point where you would say it either throws you off or motivates you more so than normal?
I would say it motivates me more so than normal, because I know my awake life, I know my responsibilities, I know my schedule, I know all those things that I follow in its normal pattern, and I know I can get to work. I know that I don't have to clean up after people and go look for a job. And it's just, it's very unexplained as to why this dream keeps coming back to me. But in the days following, I'm very focused, productive, efficient, calm, organized, and I'm back to where I feel like I need to be, instead of being in this hysterical kind of state that is not me whatsoever. Perhaps it's something that I fear about, I don't know. So that's why dreams intrigue me as much as they do, because when they don't make sense, is so much not a part of your character, that when that happens, you're like, where the hell did that come from?
So for the people who don't know you like I do, if, give some of the people a little bit of your background. Tell them what you do for a living. Tell them just a little bit about yourself, so that they may better get an idea of where you come from when you say that you have these dreams, and then what carries you through the waking days afterward.
So, as far as my personal background goes, I've been married 3 times. My son is the most precious production of my first marriage. He is my number one always. We have always been very, very close. Through our years of travel, different things have either torn us apart or brought us closer together. When these type of dreams, when a disconnection happens between somebody who's very close or someone that you're wishing a closer connection with, that perhaps could be a reason why, or why it is that you're looking for something that you can't quite get to. And that's somewhat what I perceive of some of these dreams, is I'm trying so hard to get to something, but I can't quite get to it, and I don't know how to get there.
What's your profession?
So I am an executive housekeeper for a very...
Just for a hotel.
Just for a hotel.
We don't need to put out specifics to the internet. They don't need to know.
Post before that went through, divorce, whatever. That's always either an ugly thing or whatever. But a huge transition in my life took place at that time, because I had single-handedly started, built, and produced, and was productive and profitable in my own business.
What was your own business?
I owned my own fitness company, personal trainer, in aerobics classes, independent trainer for customized programs, hospital associates, taking care of them and their perhaps lack of education on how to take care of themselves as far as back injuries and such. So that was truly my passion for, well, it always is, but I engaged in that and passion for a very long time. So come time to things change in life, and come time for that to change, I went back to my roots. And my roots were back here at home, and what I had started my business out to be was ethically not what it came to when I came back home. It was a completely different scenario.
So you felt more comfortable transitioning back into the roots of housekeeping,
yes,
of
something
hospitality,
service, things that I know I'm good at. The only way I know how to work is to work hard, and that's no different than physical training. It can either mentally, emotionally, or physically drain you, but that was something that came about, and that's where I've been ever since. I've gone from a lower position to the highest position available in my company, and I'm proud of that, and I work hard for it, and I respect myself for that, and it's just another chapter of my life. Some chapters you have to close and you have to open another book.
I'm very proud of you too, Mom.
Thanks.
Now, on being aware that you were in a dream, and I brought up Inception earlier, a dream within a dream. Now, I've had a couple of these, and I believe that they're in some ways very significantly important, but the thing is the dreams that I've had that involve Inception are so outlandish. And I want to bring this up because the question I had for you is, have you ever had flying dreams?
Yes.
So flying dreams are a very big deal for me. I used to have them constantly when I was younger, and then as I got older, I could still be aware of myself in my dreams, but I couldn't necessarily fly anymore. I went from being able to fly at free will to jumping and gliding, and then one day I just couldn't anymore. And there's only been maybe a handful of dreams in the last 10 years where I have had a good flying experience. What are some of the most memorable flying dreams that you've had, and what do you feel like when you're in those dreams?
I'm really glad that you brought that up. I haven't thought about those dreams for a very long time. So when I used to have those dreams, haven't had them for many years. When I used to have those kind of dreams, I was taking off, and I was hovering just above the trees. There was people chasing me for some reason, and I was running, and I would just take enough lift just before they would get to me that I could climb higher and higher and higher, and all I could see was the freedom in front of me. And those dreams, those are the dreams you want to stay in forever, because they're so peaceful, they are unthreatening, you're not afraid to turn around the corner, you're just gliding through the air, and for what reason you don't know. And those are the most peaceful dreams, and I haven't had one for many, many years. So I'm glad you brought that up, because it really brought back some memories.
Well, and I think that it's highly ironic that you have a fear of heights.
Yes, I do.
You have a huge fear of heights, and yet in flying dreams, you can go as high as the stars, and it's still peaceful.
It's free. You feel free. And
have you ever looked down and seen your shadow on the ground as you're flying?
As you're flying, yeah, I can see my shadow as the wings.
Yeah.
And flying through, and that's why dreams are so intriguing to me. It's just like, okay, once we get back to the roots of it, why am I dreaming this? Why is this happening? Where did it come from? And where is it going? And what's really happening here? What part of my brain are you in that I don't understand or see on a daily basis? Am I too stuck in today's world, society, and mental status that I can't see those things unless I'm asleep at a certain stage? My body is so exhausted, so I'm in deep sleep, and then I wake up, and then I fall into that REM sleep where this dream state is possible. Where's all this coming from?
Now, do you ever believe that when these dreams occur, that we are opening different dimensions that our
I do.
spirit can visit?
Hmm.
I have a lot of the same belief that that perhaps there's a part of existence that we're only allowed to access when we are in such a state. Now they say sleep is the cousin of death, and I I very much hold tight to that statement. I believe very much in its truth. Sleep is the closest to death we will ever come in our living days. And um, I, I do believe that when we dream, there is a piece of us. You know, they say that they found the map for the soul in your brain. Um, they've said it many times that there is a part of your brain that is pretty much impossible to map, and they believe it holds the key codes to the soul. And uh, I think it would be fascinating to study that part of the brain while under a sleep experiment, while you're sleeping, while you have these intense dreams, to see what lights up and what doesn't. And I know that they've done it, but I've never been able to be a part of the experiment. I'm not smart enough to understand the data that comes out of it. But I think it would be fascinating just to see what different parts of your brain light up while you're in such a dream.
I agree.
I believe that it would be fun to be able to document your dreams and see if through a very long period of time. And I mean, to have every viable option for a dream, to have reoccurring dreams, to have flying dreams, to have nightmares, and to see what different parts of your brain, or if they're all the same parts of your brain that light up. And, uh, you know, to see really what doors could be opened that way. Back to the question of, do you think we'd ever be able to uh, harness and broadcast a dream like a movie at some point? They have talked about a neural link that is possible in the future, where they want to link your brain basically to the internet. And
Wow.
and I wonder, this technology is also very frightening to me because it also gives rise to AI.
Hmm.
And I wonder if at points in trying to get to wiring our brains basically to the internet, um, if we'd ever be able to record our own consciousness.
That's a very interesting factor, because just before you were saying that, the thought came to my mind, is there a possibility or any way that somebody else could see what I'm dreaming and interpret it or understand it, and from a second perspective or a third point perspective as to what the heck just happened and where did this come from? Are you seeing, can you experience and feel what I'm feeling and seeing and going through this? And there's so many questions out there that I don't know if they could ever be answered.
Do you think that the old saying that when you can't sleep at night it's because you're awake in somebody else's dream is true at all?
I've never heard that phrase, but you know what? I've never really thought about it. Never really thought about it. Well, if they're in the same dream I am, I really hope they're doing better than I am. Just saying.
Well,
If you're trying to clean your house and there's people coming in making messes and you got to get to work, they better get busy.
Sounds like a disaster house. Yeah, it's an old saying. I actually heard it when I was a kid a long time ago. I think Grandma and Grandpa actually used to tell it to me, that when you can't sleep at night, it's because you're already awake in somebody else's dream. That part of uh, your subconsciousness is already productive somewhere else in the universe, in somebody else's mind, in somebody else's world, and that's why you can't use it to get there.
Can we just tell them to go to sleep already?
Well, no, they are sleeping and they're dreaming with you in it, and that's
Well,
why
I'm tired.
that's why you can't sleep.
I'm tired.
I'm gonna go to sleep now.
Can you just wake up already?
And so, alright, let's see. We've covered Inception, being aware that you're in a dream, how they make you feel. What's one of the most memorable happy dreams that you can recall? What were the events in the dream? How did it play out? And why did it make you feel so happy?
This is very, very personal dream. Something I'll never forget as long as I live. So, my father committed suicide. And I was at home. I was obviously asleep. And my father came to me, and I'll never deny this a day I live to anybody. I don't care what you think, I don't care what your opinion is. I know what happened in my mind. My father came to me and he said, I don't know if I'll ever be able to do this again. And he showed me a place, and he was clothed in white, and I was looking down upon him, and he said that he was sorry, and I told him I'm sorry that I was not there for you when you needed me. And I saw my father's face. I saw what he wore. I didn't see anything around him except for white. And religious beliefs, I don't care. I know what I saw. I know what I felt. And at the time that it happened, it set my heart at a certain peace, because I knew at that time I had nothing inhibiting my mind, my body, my surroundings, absolutely nothing. And I know what I saw, I know what I felt, and I know what today I still believe, and this was 20 years ago. And it changed my life. It really did. It set a peace in my soul that I never thought I would ever have.
It also goes back to what we were talking about earlier, that being asleep and being so close to death allows your body, or allows your soul, to really visit other places and to really access doors and dimensions that aren't available to us when we're so blinded in our waking days.
You're right. And honestly, that's the most memorable thing. And like I said, it honestly was 22 years ago that this happened. And I will never forget it for 1 second, deny it for 1 minute of my life. I know what happened. I know I was there. I know what I saw, and I know what I felt. And I'll never deny it a day in my life.
That's beautiful. No, I haven't necessarily been able to have such a fantastic experience myself, but the two dreams that I really do remember the most, and I think the one that made me the happiest, I had it was the very first flying dream that I could ever remember. And I remember my surroundings, and I remember where we lived at the time, and where exactly I was. And for those of you who don't know, I grew up a lot of my childhood on a farm, and I like to spend a lot of my time alone. I find a lot of peace and solitude, and that's just always who I've been. And I remember that I was walking through my favorite tree line, and I actually was replaying the memory of this dream in my head when you were talking about your flying dreams, because I could hear that there was somebody behind me, and I didn't want to turn around, I didn't want to look, but I felt the urgency to start running. And I remember in my dream that I was running and I could see the trees, and I would look up and I could see the parting of the trees almost like they were in a tunnel. And I could see the end, and there was nowhere to go at the end. It dropped off and there was just nowhere to go. And far off in the distance you could see the golden rolling hills of just the wheat and grasslands. And I knew that all I knew in my head was I just had to keep running, I had to keep going, and the faster I went and the more I stared off into these golden grasslands, the more I could feel myself raise up. And as soon as I heard the footsteps get right behind me, and I could almost feel the hands touch the back of the back of my shoulder, I took off right through the opening of these trees in this tunnel. And I asked you if you have ever looked down to see.
Excuse me.
You okay?
Yep.
To see your shadow, because this is really the one and only time that I was able to do so. I went up and I could feel the wind, and the very vivid memory of looking down and seeing my actual shadow flowing along the golden grasslands is something I will never forget. And it was one of the most exhilarating and peaceful dreams that I have ever had. It was
Absolutely.
adrenaline rush and peace all at the same time.
Mhm.
And there was one that I had that was Inception, but I was flying too, and it was the weirdest one I can never really recall, because I remember being in, it was like a very old-fashioned like movie theater. um, there was a balcony up top, and then there was down, and there wasn't movie theater seats, but there were tables, round tables, and there were people frozen at them, and they were almost like statues, and they had cobwebs hanging off of them, and everything was dusty, and I was literally jumping and gliding and floating from table to table, and there were chessboards on each one, and I was having fun moving people's chess pieces for them. And I remember flying off the top balcony and going down, and it was just a dark movie theater with a white screen. There was nothing on the screen, but it was light enough for me to see my surroundings. And I remember the very elegant carvings of maroon wood, and the very dark red, almost the color of your jacket over there, curtains that opened up from the movie screen. And I was jumping around playing chess with these frozen people, and who were frozen in time, it seemed like. And I remember from there I was waking up, and I was actually running down the hall in school. And in my mind, I said something to myself like I needed to complete the mission. And even though I was running down the hall in school, I knew that I was in a dream. And I forced myself back asleep in my dream, running down the hall so that I could complete my chess game with these people. And it was weird, because after I finally hit checkmate with somebody, I woke up and I was still in my dream in school, and I was at my locker, and I was supposed to be getting something, and I knew that I had completed my mission, and I was running late for the bell. And so I started running down the hall carrying my backpack and a bunch of other things, and I jumped, and in my dream I was able to jump and basically fly really fast to school or to my class. And right as the bell rang, I woke up and I realized that I had had a dream within a dream, and I had been somewhere that felt very, very real to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
That's one of the only with the most vivid time that I can ever remember Inception. And I know I've had a couple of dreams like that since, and it's crazy because I had these as a kid, and then when the actual movie Inception came out, it blew my mind because it was a real concept, and it was something that I never thought it was real. And then to see a Hollywood production mimicking something that I had experienced long before this movie was even thought about was fascinating to me. And that's why Inception is one of my favorite movies. It's a
Time to write a movie.
It's a brilliant movie. I highly recommend it for anybody who has never seen it. A++ movie, very, very good. But I had experienced the concept of Inception long before this movie ever came out. And so it was very mind-boggling to me and very fascinating that other people in the world have experienced this phenomenon.
Yeah, for sure. That's really fascinating. Man, I'm going to the video store.
Highly recommend it. It's a very, very good one.
Nice.
So we're getting close to an hour. Let's end this episode on a very positive note. What's besides the one? What's one of the? Have you ever had funny dreams? Have you ever literally woken up laughing?
No,
Neither have I.
I have no sense of humor.
Well, I think it's funny that dreams are so serious.
Yeah, a good point there, because you're absolutely right. I never woke up laughing my guts out.
I've never really experienced it either, and I'm hoping to find one day somebody who has experienced a laughing fit in their dream. So feel free, anybody in the comments who's watched this, type them out. Let me know. Describe your dream to me. Let me know if you've ever laughed super hard in your dreams. Have you been woken up by a laughing fit? A good topic for discussion.
Share your thoughts.
Let me know in the comments.
Thanks, everybody.
Oh, we did it, Mom.
Thank you. Nice job, love.
Heck yeah.
Ooh, ooh.
We did it. Alright,
Thanks,
everybody.
guys.
Have a good night.